My name is Margaret Zinyu and I'm currently in Kohima, Nagaland. Hello Lee, Philip, Nina and Rekna. I am extremely glad to be part of the World Hope Forum, India, the Dawn of Hope. I first came across Lee's name way back as a student in the early 20s at the National Institute of Design through Trent Union and Blooms. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the people present here, my colleagues and the audience from all across the continent. Student Predilection is a design initiative that labels woven threads by Indigenous people of Nagaland to create innovative high-end loin textiles using sustainable materials and zero-waste manufacturing process based on the Indigenous knowledge systems. Nagaland is a state in the northeastern part of India. It shares its borders with states of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Assam, and also with the international border of Myanmar. Nagaland is home to 17 major tribes along with other sub-tribes. We all have our distinct customs, dialects, and attires. Our animistic practices are long foregone as today we are close to 88% followers of Christianity. The northeastern region of India is home to a number of indigenous people, including those in Nagaland. We people have our own unique traditions and craft artisans who create beautiful work of art. These traditions are passed down from generation to generation and are an important part of our culture of this region. Today I'll be taking you to Noklak district. Kemangan is a major Naga ethnic group with approximately 35% of population found in Noklak district of Nagaland, India, and the rest in Naga self-administered zone and Khamti district of Myanmar. They were also called KLO Kemyu, slate house dwellers during the British era. According to the popular myth, Kemangan means source of great waters, the place where the early ancestors of Kemungan are said to have originated. Today, the Kemungan occupy the eastern part of India and northwestern part of Myanmar. In India, they are mostly found in Noklak district of Nagaland state and the rest of self-administered zone of Khamti district of Siangam district, Myanmar. So who are the makers, the Kemungan women of Noklak? These are the women from Choklangan village, and we consciously decided to go with Noklak as our women did face some issues being a patriarchal community. And we do hope that they will be more inclusive in the future. The community, the traditional Kemungan attires consist of bright red and deep blue colored wrap skirts. The ornaments are made of glass beads in yellow-orange with cowries and conch shells. The latter signifies the status of the wearer in the community. They are also great craftsmen when it comes to cane, basket, and bamboo weaves, which are known for its fine weaves. The bast fiber Ilonyu is a Kemungan dialect. It primarily comprises of two fibers, which is the Himalayan stinking nettle, Girardinia divorcifolia, and orangeria plant, which is the Bergassia longifolia. The craft Ilonyu, this project of Ilonyu documentation and the visit to Noklak district was being supported by Tribal Design Forum, a community of creative professionals from the tribal community of India. This is on our way to the forest. Our external team consists of 2 photographers, a local youth as our guide and translator. The day we planned to forage, there was a very heavy rainfall through the previous night, which continued to the next morning. Hence, we waited for the rain to subside and made our way to the forest. Foraging the forest swelled the Himalayan stinking nettle and the orangeria shrub. They mostly grow in the deep dense forests of Nagaland. The selected stock of the plant would be foraged seasonally and arduously hand processed, where the sunlight often do not reach the forest floors. The foraging experience only gave me more respect to the women and the craft itself, because having been there, having my own fall and sleeping experience was a good lesson for me as well. So once the fibers are foraged and backed to the village, the baskets are filled with hand rolled into loose bobbins, which are undone and they are air dried. This process continues for few days. Once the fiber is dried, the process continues, and that starts with hand ripping. This is a process where the fiber is ripped into fine strands, and they are also hand joined. So before that, once they are hand ripped, the basket, which has got a particular soil which has this tendency of retaining the moisture, which helps in keeping the fiber supple and for joining the ends. And as the process continues, joining the strands by twisting on the thigh without using the spindle. At this phase, the winding is done on as a conical bobbin, which is either stored for later or the process continues. The conical bobbin is then further wetted once again for the spinning. Spinning the yarn either can be a single ply or 2-ply yarn. The lady here has a little bamboo bowl for the bottom of the thigh spindle, which helps in keeping the movement consistent. Transferring from high spindle, then making into a hang. As this process continues, this is done by transferring the spindle into the double T bar where the hang is ready. This is the phase where the whole yarn spinning comes to an end, followed by the process, which is the ratting and scrunching, which forms another very interesting part in the indigenous knowledge practices. Ratting was purely done by process of cooking with wood ash, while scrunching by continuous beating with wooden mallet, which breaks the fiber down, and hand rubbing washes away all the unwanted bark. The hand rubbing and washing continues, washing off all the ash, then followed by sizing, which is rice pounded, and the starch is used for strengthening the fiber, and finally it is hung for air drying once again. Once the yarn is dried, the yarn hang goes for tie winding into yarn balls. Once that is done, it is ready to go for weaving on the loin loom. Before the weaving starts comes the main process, which is warping. So the main weaver is strapped on the loom with the second helper weaver who passes the yarn balls. Some of the design concepts that we would like to share is the wearable art, which is designed to be versatile in styling. Over here we have woven two fabric width of different dimension with armholes, and this is how it's being worn. The next is challenging the techniques and the constraints. So over here we have woven an infinity cowl with a limited warp length. This is taken off the loom with zero wastage and zero waste, and all the techniques here is owned by the community itself. And this is how it's being worn. It can either be worn or it can also be used as a wall art, depends on whatever the owner wants to do. The textures, this is a warp manipulated textures without adding supplementary weft. Orange rear fiber with rich brownish tone with cotton dyed in natural dyes. This is a texture where it can be worn both the front and the back being visible. This is another way of combining the cape with the stole. So coming to almost the end of our presentation, I hope that there will be a recognition of the indigenous knowledge and traditional values. This is evident by the fact that we, the Nagas, have been able to maintain our culture and traditions. But with modernization, it is languishing slowly with the world around us. Craft is relevant to the Nagas, but due to the remote area, reaching to the right platform to working in remote area thus rarely gets its recognition, which makes it difficult even for us trying to bridge the gap to access the markets. We have come to the end of our presentation. A short video will be shared after this. Thank you all.
The forest, provider of mankind, gave a significant gift for weaving by providing wild plants. Weaving, the oldest surviving craft in the world. Historically, weaving has been central to indigenous women's contribution to household. Their work as a weaver was essential for the survival of important elements of ancient culture. Ilonyu is a very special bast fiber from Nagaland district. The fibers comprise of blending orange rhea plant and stinging nettle. Jongkem is a 90-year-old lady and a living artist from Langnok village since her childhood years under Nagaland district. She and her late husband are farmers who educated their 2 children through farming and weaving as their livelihood. She is still practicing her skills to make ends meet, with new man-made materials coming into the market. The eco-friendly fibers have somehow lost its charm and the attitude of the younger generation moving towards fast fashion. These have somehow become a threat to the artisanal textiles and for the living artisans whose sole earning lies in the traditional skills. On the other hand, there are no young generation who look at this art as life skills, be it in the yarn making process or the weaving.
Nông ai lo nhiều thế bài buồn nông, tám bao bù lại đại gia cảnh cái gì, đầu đi tám mô cảnh cái gì nông, à bỏ xăm sâu bè, mẹ thô mẹ nào nông, à môn lộ, ta à đi lộ, ta à làm lên nhỉ, ta chỉ mẹ gì. Hai, nhà xe khi nổ thực ra, cái gì?
Thêm một khoản. Qua thì thêm thì sao hả?
Before foreign goods were imported into our land, our forefathers goes to the jungle for harvesting raw bark from the wild plants, and comes home, then they split and spin the bark, boiled, shed, picked and beat up, and then woven into clothes like mekhala and shawls, kaune for women, shawl netted for men, loin, ilay, and bag, nekong.
Samun nea tiki chi no yam no ezong no pai pun no nong chong same chi ti he chi yam kun lem le lo chilian ezong kun li lo lem le lo chilian a mem nong kan gi